Let's discuss all of this with Professor Chris Bail from Duke University, who's an expert on social media. And it's really good of you to join us to talk this through. Just help us to understand what is going on here, because we've got the Oversight Committee, which is basically saying that they are upholding the ban, but they're also saying it's not within Facebook's scope to make these penalties permanent. So are they somewhat sitting on the fence here?
I think they are. I think we're seeing them kick the can down the road. They're delaying the decision. And what I think this underscores is that, the problem runs much deeper than this single decision. America was a very polarized country before Trump. We're going to be a very polarized country after Trump. And I think the bigger question is, how did we get here?
So in that case, how did we get here? I know you have been in particular doing an awful lot of research into how social media has become very politicized.
That's right. There's a lot of narratives out there about how social media polarizes us. Things like echo chambers that insulate us from opposing views, or, foreign misinformation campaigns, or maybe algorithms that radicalize us. All of these are very seductive and appealing ideas because they give us the sense that someone inside Facebook could simply rewrite some code or flip a switch and make us all less polarized. But the research that my colleagues and I have done in the Polarization Lab at Duke University suggests that these interventions really won't make much of a difference. And the really disturbing reality is that there's a supply side problem. It's social media users who are ultimately responsible for creating the content that gets boosted by these algorithms.
OK, so if social media users are responsible, the Pew Research Center has recently found that around 6% of all Twitter users, for example, I know we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, but say let's focus on Twitter here, that the Twitter users generate 73% of posts about national politics. And in fact, the majority of these individuals have extreme views. Who's responsible for curbing those views, for highlighting those views as being wrong? Is it not the platforms? It can't just be all of us users on social media across various different types of social media.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to let the platforms off the hook. There is a lot that platforms can do. Let's think a little bit about the way social media incentivizes us to behave. Right now we've got a system where we're rewarded for saying extreme things, for preaching to the choir, for really, boosting our own team and taking the other side down. But through some simple changes, social media platforms could, for example, boost or amplify content that appeals to people from different political backgrounds or even different social groups altogether. And this could really help optimize for democracy instead of creating the kind of self-serving micro-celebrity that so many extremists are taking advantage of on the platforms right now.
But we'll certainly wait and see what happens next. Professor Bail from Duke University, really good to get your thoughts.
Thanks you so much for having me, Kasia.